Welcome to AM Best Audio.
Handling claims during catastrophic events can be overwhelming for insurers. But with new technology emerging, there's a lot of potential for transforming claims processing. I'm John Weber for Best Review Magazine, and I'm speaking today to Marc Rothchild, Senior Vice President and Head of Claims at Xceedance. Marc, so glad you could join us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Marc, what are the biggest challenges insurers face when managing a surge in claims, and where do you think there's room for improvement?
So we've been talking about this for quite some time, and unfortunately, we had to live and breathe it, and our teams are still living and breathing along with our policyholders after the effects of Hurricane Helene. I think you can really break it down into three main ways in which there's challenges during a major cat event like a hurricane, and how you can best prepare your teams and your claimants. Certainly, there's a lot you can do to prepare in advance of the storm, whether that's through proactively sending out communication, making sure that policyholders are aware of how they can submit their loss, as of course to make sure they're also in a safe place. In terms of your readiness for your teams, oftentimes you need to ramp up staffing or relocate them, have your technology ready to be able to respond. There's a number of new channels in which losses can be captured beyond the typical calling in a loss. And then just importantly, once those claims start flooding in, making sure that your adjusters are working as efficiently as possible. And there's a number of technology approaches that can help them balance those surging.
How do you see technology stepping in to streamline the claims lifecycle, particularly during large-scale events?
Great question. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that your live adjusters are there to provide the guidance as well as the empathy for those claimants that need it most, whether you're dealing with a homeowner or you're dealing with a business that's being impacted by a major event. We noticed this in the most recent storm. We had put in place some technology that was helping out actually in the auto claim space, not expecting it to see the benefit in a post-cat event. But we found ways to automate the claim setup process when there's a bulk submission of claims that come in. We had one particular insured that we're supporting for a large client down in Florida, where their entire lot of automobiles was flooded from the storm. And they submitted in over email 31 different VIN numbers and related to that loss. And our technology was able to automate that to get that set up in a matter of minutes, what would have taken somebody in our claim setup team close to a full day. So that just enables our adjusters to get that much on top of that claim faster, and still what they need to do with that live interaction with the policyholder to make sure that they're moving in the right direction.
As you well know, Marc, artificial intelligence is increasingly becoming a key player in claims management. So how do you think AI can reshape the future of claims, and where do you see its greatest potential in improving the overall process?
If you don't mind, I'll go check with my co-pilot to get you a good answer on that one. But in all seriousness, it's something that we've been thinking about, certainly in recent weeks and months. And it's a big focus area to make sure that our team is fully set up, understanding both the guiding principles of AI, especially Gen AI, and then our teams are well equipped to understand what the ramifications are, given that we do work in a highly regulated environment when it comes to claims, and certainly because it's such an important touch point with the claimant and the policyholder. So a few areas that we see that can be both near term as well as less impact are upfront in the F&OL and claim intake process, right? Whether that's through the utilization of chatbots, leveraging other technologies that can capture the information from submitted losses, right? Since a lot of the losses come in a number of different means, they're not all clean in terms of a submitted claim form. They could have multiple documents, photos, images, videos, and be able to capture them and get that claim set up as quickly as possible. Additionally, you want to be able to support the adjuster, right, with their caseload. So whatever we can do throughout the life cycle of the claim, the basic information where somebody wants to understand what's the status of their claim, that can be handled through some of those other AI-related technologies, or to make sure the underwriter is kept abreast of what's going on in the claim. All that information is stored ideally in the claim file, whether it's in the documents, reports, notes, back and forth, email and phone communication. What we're finding with AI, you can leverage that to both summarize the claim, provide some guidance, right? And then it's still up to the licensed adjuster to make the decision, right, as well as to have those human interactions with the claimant, the policyholder, litigation counsel if it's a litigated claim, and so on.
What would you say are the most common challenges insurers face when adopting AI in their claims process, and what can be done to overcome them?
I think first and foremost, you need to recognize, right, AI can mean a lot of different things to different people. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're keeping the policyholder and the claimant in mind, and also staying in line with the regulatory guidelines, right? So I think some of the biggest challenges are, one, knowing what's acceptable from a regulatory standpoint, what's going to be acceptable from a client standpoint. And there's going to be a whole host of different types of clients, whether you're dealing with an individual person who's insuring their home or their auto, you're dealing with a small business who might not have an audit claims a year, or a large corporation that has multiple policies and might be more well-versed in the claims process. So you really need to keep all those stakeholders in mind as you design it, as you test it, as you introduce it. It shouldn't be something where it's going to be clear to those stakeholders that AI is being used behind the scenes, right? It should be seamless to them, while at the same time allowing the claims experience to be as consistent as possible. And a big portion of that is also educating your teams that are involved in the claims, right, to make sure that they understand what's being used, if there's any feedback that needs to be provided, whether it's in the early testing phase or once something goes into production.
So, Mark, what are some steps insurers should take to ensure smooth implementation of AI?
I think a big thing is making sure that you've got the right teams in place, along with the right governance. And by right teams, that includes, if you're talking about claims, you want to have the subject matter experts. Ideally, you can pull out somebody who's working an active caseload and somebody on their claims management team, so they can be involved in the design as well as the testing, and make sure that it's going to be applicable and most useful during the day-to-day. Additionally, you want to have the right technology and data teams that understand what's the latest technology that's out there, make sure it's used in the right way, and that there's the right data privacy and governance going on there throughout. And then certainly, again, because you're dealing with a highly regulated industry, you want to make sure that your compliance team is involved every step of the way to make sure there's no unseen roadblocks, and that you have the acceptance and appreciation before it goes live.
So even with all the advancements in automation and AI, claims are still deeply personal for policyholders. So how can insurers maintain empathy in their interactions while leveraging these technologies to enhance efficiency?
Yeah, so I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? It's still a very human experience. I've personally experienced some claims myself over the last couple of years, as well as some family members, and it just reminds you just how important it is to have that available adjuster when you need them, right? Not every claim is the same, right? So you want somebody who's going to be able to answer the questions for you in a timely manner, somebody who can walk you through that process. And while AI can help the adjuster free up a lot of the administrative time, you don't want that adjuster to rely on AI to make the ultimate decision for them, nor do you want the person on the other end to feel as if they're interacting with a non-human, right? And this is where you want to be thoughtful and always keep the client or the claimant and policyholder at the center of whatever you're designing and putting out there in the marketplace. But I think if those things are thoughtful, right, and that's kept in mind as you go throughout the claims journey, you can start to see a lot of those advantages. And that could be everything from upfront in the claim intake to downstream when you're capturing estimates. You can leverage certain virtual channels that'll both speed up the process for them, so the claimant will see the benefit there, even though it's something that's using automated or AI technology. And then all the way at the end of the claims process, when you're dealing with payment, when there's opportunities to both speed up the claims payment because of the usage of technology, making sure that it's issued more timely, and giving them more flexible options in how they want to receive that payment. I don't think you're going to have policyholders complaining that there might be some AI behind it. Again, as long as you're performing it consistently per the guidelines and getting that policyholder back to the right place.
Great advice. Mark, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Very much appreciate it. Thanks.
That was Marc Rothchild, Senior Vice President and Head of Claims at Xceedance, and I'm John Weber for Best Review Magazine.
Looking to get the full attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms that will do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day. Find out more by calling AM Best Advertising Sales at 908-439-2200, extension 5399, and have a great day.